Three-star athlete Daniel Vollmer commits, adds another huge weapon to Vandy's defense. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Super Bowl 59 is here, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5, and if you win, you score $200 in bonus bets. So download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. So today we learned a little bit about Vandy baseball. They had an intersquad scrimmage over the weekend, so we'll learn about what they bring to the table. Basketball, well, they had a rough weekend, but there's a lot to learn from it, and the tests don't get any easier especially for the men's team. So we'll discuss that. However, 2026 recruiting is heating up. They host their junior day. Lots of targets in town this weekend, and they even picked up a commitment from one of them, three-star athlete, projected to be a linebacker, hybrid, star position guy, Daniel Vollmer. So this one's really exciting because Daniel Vollmer, let's back up a little bit. Daniel Vollmer from Cincinnati, St. Xavier High School. He is, you beat out Cincinnati, Duke, and Indiana were the main people recruiting him. But here's the thing I like about him. This dude's a playmaker. Okay, you watch his film, and he does everything for St. X. Okay, he's one of the top people. He's one of the top players in Ohio, playing for one of the top football programs. He had almost 1,000 yards rushing with 13 touchdowns. He caught 17 passes. He had 5 more scores through there. He threw a touchdown, ran a kickoff back from a score, and also had probably 1 million tackles. But at 6'2", 210, he's probably going to project to play the linebacker position at Vandy. So here's a little bit about him. What I really like about him is he brings not only really good athleticism and good size to that star position. I think that adds to it. Somebody that's able to play in space a little bit. But the guy, with his versatility and what he's doing in high school, he knows all the positions. And having somebody that you can't discount the importance of having somebody that just is a football player, that knows football, that understands the intricacies of all these positions, and that type of information is going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you be a better football player because you know how to play certain blocks. You can pick up on offensive tendencies. You can, when you're studying film and you're studying opposing offensive players, you can kind of compare that to what you did as a player, how they want to attack you, things like that. All that kind of insight from a guy that's basically played everything, including head coach, water boy, commentator, and play clock operator. Whatever job there was on the football field, I'm sure Daniel Vollmer did it at St. X. So being able to have that sort of insight in film study is very, very valuable, and much more valuable than somebody who is just a linebacker, I think. Because you just bring that little extra added knowledge. You have some playmaking ability. So when you watch his film, here's the thing I like about it. Okay. The shiftiness he has, just his ability to, find the end zone offensively, his ability, he's a, big, tough kid, physical kid. But just, when you get him in the open field, he's not somebody that's going to shy away from space. He's not going to be somebody that, you see him one-on-one with somebody like, okay, can he cover the flat? Yes. Is he going to be able? I love their mascot too, the Bombers. Just so you know, he can return kicks. I mean he's kind of like the defensive version of Eli Stowers. I mean the leadership is there, just to do it all type mentality is there. Whatever needs to happen, if he has to go in, kind of like a Mike Vrabel situation for those familiar with that linebacker that had some packages on offense. Like Hell, he might be able to add a special package. Jerry Kill and Tim Beck were looking at this. We're looking at this film going, okay, this guy might be able to help us in certain situations on offense. We might be able to do some fake punt stuff with them. So, there's certainly some possibilities of getting him involved in the game other than just being in the rotation at linebacker or star or wherever they decide he's a good fit for. So this is a situation where you just enjoy the playmaking ability, and you find places for football players. That's the biggest key in recruiting. You find football players, you find versatile guys, because those guys usually come with a set of intelligence. And those guys usually come with the attitude of, hey, you need me to go play tight end on this goal line set? Yeah, I'll do it. You need me to get on punt coverage? Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, you want me on kickoff as an L4? Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, whatever you want him to do. Punt returner goes down, kick returner goes down. Hey, you need somebody to return this kick? I got you. Right? You want a wildcat quarterback, kind of like a bulldozer wildcat quarterback? I got you. Okay, you need somebody like on a goal line set to go run this corner out? I got you. They can't touch, like, this guy can tackle in space. This guy can do just about everything you need him to do. And, the development will continue, obviously. And, I can't wait to get him on campus and can't wait to see what he brings to the table, And until he signs, it's never over. But, this one I feel pretty good about because, Clark Lee's defense really, really, really enjoys having, and I think it thrives with guys like him, because the versatility, especially in that star position, is something that he covets. Because, okay, you have guys the guys that rotated in that position. You had C.J. Taylor rotating through, Brandon Fontenette, and Nick Rinaldi. Nick Rinaldi is a true blue linebacker, but he rotates in at that star position depending on the situation. So, you get in certain, you get against certain teams like a South Carolina who's going to be run heavy. You get him up near the line of scrimmage. He can hold his own in coverage, but he's going to be that bigger body that you need if you need kind of that extra linebacker hybrid type. So I'm really excited about this commitment. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table. And I think it usually takes one commitment to have the dominoes fall. There is hopefully some dominoes behind that. Maybe I can get Justin Angel on at some point to talk, which one of these dominoes will fall. But they hosted, speaking of dominoes, they hosted a bunch of targets this weekend in their last junior day, obviously getting that commitment from Daniel Vollmer. But somebody that I really, I think is going to be, he's a composite 4-star according to 247, running back Evan Hampton. He's from Owensboro, Kentucky. They had him on. He's a 6 foot, 200-pound guy. Not sure if he's a home run hitter. They need a guy. They need a home run hitter, but he's, maybe he is. I haven't watched his film yet, but he rushed for 1,600 yards and 24 touchdowns as a junior. That can't be too bad. And, it seems like a lot of people are going to be after him. NC State, Louisville, West Virginia, Stanford, those guys seem to be after him. So, maybe he can just come right down the road here and play for the Dores. If he's somebody that can just have some breakaway speed and all that. Katie Jones as well out of Jenks, Oklahoma is another running back that Vandy could be in for. And with the scheme, the way it is, the philosophy, the identity, I guess, if you want, whatever you want to call it, I think it favors getting guys like this because they come in and they see the opportunity. Some offenses, they might go in and not really fit in. Like Louisville, not sure it's a great fit. NC State, I don't know enough about the program to know. I'm not sure it's a good fit under Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia. That could be a good fit, honestly. But I think Vandy, with what they do, is a really, really good fit. They had Cottrell Webb, 3-star edge player. He has, again, 6'2", 230. He lacks a little bit of height, but dude has a ton of ability. And he is, He just needs somebody that's, again, at that position, you like to see a bunch of, height and, those big, long 6'5" guys there at the edge position. But what it all comes down to really is just athleticism, versatility, playing in space, things like that. So that's something they're looking for. But Cottrell Webb coming out of Collins Hill, it's a very, very tough region to play in. Linebacker Billy Wevoda from Milton. I think I said that right. He's a linebacker. Again, lots of speed. There's going to be an emphasis on getting speed. 6'3", 205. I got a little bit of link to him, but it's lots of speed there, and again, that's going to be the emphasis in the Southeastern Conference. Defenses are sacrificing a little bit of size for a little bit more speed because the game is starting to become more played in space, and so that's something that you're looking for. Nick Hankins at corner, 3-star kid from Illinois, Belleville West High School, 6'1" corner. That's one place that he likes to have size. And hey, there's an offensive lineman that visited. I think we still do remember how to recruit high school offensive linemen. But he's an interior guy. He's from Naples, Florida. Maybe I'll pay him a visit when I'm down there. Who knows? If he commits, George Hastos, 6'3", 280, interior offensive lineman. Maybe I'll come visit you at a community school. Adam Game he's a tight end from Seneca Valley in Pennsylvania. Another offensive lineman, Ashley Walker from Hollywood, Florida. He's from Chaminade Madonna Prep. He's 6'7", 290. So guy that could walk in and start right away. So a lot of good targets there to follow up on. We'll see how these play out, but I'm excited. Recruiting's starting to kind of pick up a little bit. Junior days are happening, getting guys on campus, scouting, all that good stuff, and so this is going to be a fun class to see kind of how Clark Lee has what his turnaround has done for this program in this recruiting class. But that's kind of the update there. Hopefully we'll have more on that as we go. But this is going to be a fun recruiting cycle. Can't wait to see if any big time offensive linemen come. Can't wait to see what transpires over the course of this winter, spring, summer, with summer camps and things like that. Get some big time playmakers on board. I think we'll show you just kind of where Vandy is as far as their development as a program. Speaking of development as a program, tough weekend for basketball. Talk about that next. All right, Super Bowl 59 is here. It's one game, two teams, endless possibilities. That's right. Chiefs versus Eagles. There's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, Saquon Barkley, calling the MVP, Patrick Mahomes, or even betting on the coin toss, tails, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, well, that's icing on the cake. So download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, the official sports book partner of Super Bowl 59. Okay. All right, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you guys, especially shout out to you everydayers at Locked On Vandy on all social media platforms. Like it, follow it, subscribe it, all that good stuff. If you need a second listen, Locked On SEC is the place for you. Chris Gordy does a phenomenal job. We squad up. That drops every Thursday, so be on top of that. So basketball. Yeesh. Don't really know where to start on this one. It is not good. Not good at all. And especially since they got off to a good start on the road. I mean, this was their biggest loss, 97-67, a 30-point blowout at Oklahoma. The team wasn't even that good. They Yeah, it was bad. They were outclassed in every way, plain and simple. They led by 13 points at one point in the first half. Like you look at it and you're like, okay, all right, this team is starting to figure some things out. Then all of a sudden, the freaking wheels fall off. 60-27 run from that point in the second half, and allowed them to go on a 23-0 run as well, and then a couple of 9-0 runs in the half as well. They just went a long period of stretch without scoring. They just weren't able to capitalize on any momentum. Let's just be real about that. I'm not even going to show you the numbers. It's pretty brutal. They scored 50 points while the bench just scored 12. They were out rebounded 39-24. They were outshot 55% to 26% from 3-point range and 63% to 38% from the field. So they weren't having a great shooting night, and also defensively they weren't closing out and providing contested shot opportunities for Oklahoma. So Oklahoma was hitting their shots. They were getting to the rim. They were putting in baskets, right? And this was a head scratcher, because this was one of the games we're talking about. Hey, if Vandy wants to be a tournament team, this is one of the games they have to get. And it started out that way, and then it just fell off, and the wheels came off, and it just seemed like it went from bad to worse, and they were shell shocked, and Oklahoma just broke their will, truthfully. That you could see as things got worse and worse and worse. The look of despair, and everybody knows that look. The body language was terrible. Just it couldn't hit shots, wasn't taking good shots, wasn't closing out well on defense, got crossed up a few times. I mean, it just I just don't understand just kind of how it all, I just can't believe how it all kind of fell apart. They uncharacteristically turned it over 15 times. They, like I said, they weren't playing defense, and I just don't know. Foul trouble was bad. They just couldn't get out of their own way. That's really kind of the gist of it. And it's it could be a fatal flaw with any sort of team if you let it be. And that's something that, Florida is red hot outside of this past weekend's 20-point loss to Tennessee. They've been red hot, especially at home. So I don't know how you fix it or where you go from here, because when it seemed like when Oklahoma got rolling a little bit, it just seemed like Vandy just wasn't sure what to do. And when they were up 13, they kind of hit cruise control, and they just lost. They just lost it. And I'm not real sure where the flip switched or how they weren't able to get the flip switched. And, there was a lot of things. It was kind of like a Murphy's Law type game at a certain point. The crowd gets juiced into it. And Oklahoma's crowd was just starving for something to get excited about. And this was that one thing. Their team was starting to mount a comeback, and they did. And it was, it's just one of those scenarios where you're just like, okay, this is bad. This is real bad. And I'm not excited about what's happening here. I'm not thrilled about this. It's going to be, Mark Byington had that look of, man, there's nothing I can do to make this stop. The Stars were in foul trouble. They weren't taking good shots. Even when they did take good shots, they couldn't hit good shots. 3-point shooting came back down to earth, came back down. They regressed to the mean on that, I guess, is probably a better way of putting it. But this was one of those games where you just kind of have to, where do you go now? Where does this go? Is it, do you just put it on the back burner and, forget about it? Do you, where do you go from here? And the only place to go is back to the drawing board, take this road trip, learn from it, and, take it to Florida with you. What didn't you do well? Well, you didn't close out well on defense. You gave them too many easy looks. They started getting momentum, and you just couldn't get out of your own way. You started turning the ball over, and you gave them chances to get hot, and they did. So you can't do that. You've got to be better rebounding. You've got to get to the rim. You've got to get back to playing to your identity. If you don't do that, nothing else is going to matter. That you're just going to keep racking up these big time losses. What are the things that made you play well at home? What are the things that you did to beat Kentucky and to beat Tennessee? What are those things? Well, you out rebounded. You were tenacious on defense all the way up the floor. You pushed the ball offensively, and you really just forced your style of play. And then you get on the road and you forget all about that. That's the sign. To me, that's the sign of a team that is still very immature in its development, and it reeks of a team that just hasn't quite figured it out. And they need perfect. It seemed like they need perfect conditions to be able to play to the level they played at against Tennessee and Kentucky. And those favorable, perfect conditions are at home when your crowd is into it. They're pumping you up. You're used to your own environment, things like that. They need that to be successful. Whereas on the road, when you don't get that and you got everything going against you, it's an unfamiliar environment. The lighting is different. The colors are different. The depth perception of the rim inside the arena is different. The floor is a little bit different. The benches are different. You're just everything about it is not the same. And you have to kind of get used to that. And if you're not a mature team, you can't handle that. And, I don't know who the real leaders are on this team as far as being able to guide you through that kind of thing. I don't know if they've emerged, if they're going to happen organically. I don't know what point that you look at it and say, okay, well, this is, somebody on that team's got to go, okay, this is unacceptable. We have to be able to handle these environments well. I think Mark Byington just wasn't sure what to do either because, this team I felt like in uncharted territory for the first time this year. They just looked completely discombobulated and didn't know which way was up, didn't know their rear end from a handful of sand, that kind of thing. It just leaves you scratching your head, and you hope, you look at the film and you just kind of figure out, okay, this is what we did, this is what we need to do. And maybe a lot of it's mental. And, you get a new team, new coach, new culture, new environment. Those kind of things happen from time to time. It's how you bounce back now. That's what you do moving forward. You just bounce back. And that's just kind of what you do. So, bad loss, put it behind you. Be a better shooting team. Take care of the ball. Play to your identity. Don't forget who you are and what got you there. Don't forget what beat Kentucky and Tennessee at home. Apply that on the road. Try to take the crowd out of it as soon as you can. That's how you do it. So, yeah. Guess what? It's baseball season too. Baseball team is going to give you a little bit of brief. Let's see what they have to do coming into a fresh new season. We'll talk about them next. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. At Locked On Vandy, like and subscribe, follow, all the good stuff. Tell your friends about it. It's really a really, really good thing. So, but Vandy boys, the baseball team, they're underway. They had a scrimmage this weekend. This is exciting. For all you baseball Commodore Vandy boy fans out there, this is an exciting time of the year because you're looking forward to, hey, let's see if our championship program can get back on its feet where it belongs. Last year they got to the regionals somehow, duct tape and bubble gum, MacGyver style, got there and just got absolutely obliterated by Clemson and got knocked out, I think, by the Citadel. Believe and not good, not a good way to not a good taste in everybody with everybody with how they lost, but how they got there. It was an interesting season. A lot of ups and downs, things like that. A lot of inconsistency, which is something you don't see out of a Tim Corbin baseball team. And so this is a chance for them to kind of get back to that a little bit, try to find some guys in the lineup that can hit and provide run support, and try to find some consistent pitching as well, which we talked about pitching a little bit last week. But this is going to be, trying to figure out what your best lineup is, who can get on base and who can get around. And it might be overrated, but people look at power numbers and you have to have some power in your lineup. You have to have some pop, and that's something at Vandy they lack. Too much small ball is not a good thing in the college baseball world. Now, maybe in the major leagues, yes, but with the ping with the metal bats, you gotta have somebody that can ping it right on out of there. So, but some key guys coming back. RJ Austin, who's somebody who's a bit of a Swiss Army knife, is going to be really, really good for them. Jacob Humphrey is somebody that I'm expected coming back to give you something there. JD Rogers, I think everyone's excited about that. He was very, very patient. Braden Holcomb, where's he going to play? Is he going to be in the infield, outfield? Projecting him maybe in the outfield. Jonathan Vastine at shortstop, Chris Malinaldo at second base. There's going to be a lot of names that you probably haven't heard of either, like Hudson Barton on the mound, Colin Barzy behind the plate, Riley Nelson, Brody Johnston getting in. He hit a double. He's factoring in the third base race there. You've got Tommy Gooden, Jaden Davis, who I'm really excited about at second base. Rustin Rigdon, somebody who don't know much about, I'll be honest with you, but he's in the mix at third base. Jacob Humphrey, again, the transfer last year from where did he come from? I think it was UMass. But he's going to be somebody that wants to get in on this lineup. But you just got to figure out, where's your power coming from, right? Holcomb and Johnston are probably going to be your power guys, probably, if they can hit consistently. Tommy Gooden, he has a little bit too as well, and Joey Dwyer does an amazing job with baseball coverage as well. If football might be his biggest gap, but man, he makes up for it in a huge way with basketball and baseball. So try to get him on the show. We've been kind of playing a little bit of phone tag a little bit. So we'll try to get him on the show as well, talk a little basketball and baseball. I'm excited about this run that Vandy has baseball wise. They're going to be pretty good. They're going to have a nice bounce back season, and they're going to, the things they have to, the storylines, the things they have to fix as they go. They've got to find something on the top end of the rotation. They've got to be, again, they've got new coaches in. They've got to hopefully take advantage of that. They got to have some pop in the middle of the lineup. They've got to be able to, some of the guys that were banged up, beat up, they've got to have some impact there in the lineup. They've got to have some utility guys that have, that provide them some versatility, so guys can get breaks and they can shuffle the lineup and it's not detrimental. Where, if you need Vastine on a break, you got a guy that can play shortstop, outfield, second base, whatever the case is, or like you have a corner infielder, outfielder combo guy like Braden Holcomb can kind of play wherever. You have some versatility in your lineup and still being able to provide the pop. That's going to be something that you look forward to as the season wears on, because as the season wears on, you get a little bit of wear and tear. You get guys that get banged up a little bit. You have some soft tissue injuries. You got some pitchers that have a little bit of wear and tear as the weather gets warmer. You have things that happen to you in that regard, and you need some versatile guys. You need some guys in the middle of that lineup. You need some guys in the rotation that can do some spot starting for you if, let's say whoever your Friday guy is. Let's say it's McIlvain. I'm not sure exactly who your Friday guy is going to be, but let's say McIlvain comes up with soreness in his shoulder. Well, somebody's got to, whoever it is, I'm not sure who that guy's going to be, but one of your midweek guys, has to be able to, jump in and be a spot starter, or one of your bullpen guys, maybe, you have a little foresight and see, okay, well, I'm going to start one of my long relievers midweek against, Drake. And, because we need a solid arm. We need one of our midweek starters to jump in and start Friday against Clemson, that kind of thing, or, hey, we got a series with LSU coming up. Hey, we need the best pitching we can get. Yeah, let's just throw away this game against Ball State on Tuesday, and we'll get whatever we can get out of our pitching staff, and we'll get one of our better midweek starters in there to pitch a Saturday game, because hey, our Saturday guy is a little bit beat up. So, it's just finding who those guys are and seeing what lineup combos you have, and seeing who can do what in different situations, things like that. If you get a guy on base, runners in scoring position, 2 outs, are they going to put the ball in play? Are they going to give their guys a chance? Can they hit for power? What are those? Who are those guys? Where are they playing? And where are they going to be in the lineup? Those types of scenarios. So it's going to be exciting nonetheless. Basketball will pick it back up, and recruiting and football, it'll start to kind of pick up a little bit of steam, because it's still, at the end of the day, it's still Vanderbilt. So there's not quite the program prestige that you get at a Georgia or Alabama or a Ohio State, but you're getting there, you're improving. So that's something to look forward to as well. But that's all I got. Hope you get your week off to a great start. Locked On Vandy, follow it, and we'll see you back here next time. Anchor down. Peace.